And today we have Francesco Biviano. We will speak about tokenization from the perspective of Arcton, a Swiss-based company that is tokenizing startup equity and providing more liquidity through the Camelot decentralized exchange. So I'm really excited to hear more today from Francesco and ask additional questions. So feel free to write your questions in the chat. We will come back to them in the end of our conversation. Francesco, please.
Amazing. Hi, thanks for having me. Hi, everyone. Yeah, I can do a short intro myself. Exactly. Francesco. I'm the founder of Arcton. We developed this fundraising and business angel community platform where we actually tokenize startup investment, startup shares, and we have a partnership with Camelot to actually create liquidity pools on them and makes actually startup share tradables under Swiss law. I guess, do we want to exactly I prepare like a presentation? Should we go through it, or how do you want to structure it, Ivan?
Yeah, let's go through the presentation and then we can go through the questions.
Perfect. Then I will go through. Okay, I can go through my my presentation that I prepare for you, so we can. Exactly. So what I prepare for today is more an intro about tokenization, a little bit about very roughly about the standard, regulation. So what is the regulation? What are the challenges? And then I want to go into the trends of tokenization. What are projects who are working, and what are projects or things who are not working in tokenization. And I'm gonna tell you what we have seen, what we see in the market, basically. Okay. Window. I don't see this window, but yeah. Anyway, I guess I can just share the entire screen. Okay, let me see. I think you see it all, right? You should see like the presentation, right?
Yes, we see it. It works great.
Perfect. Okay, perfect. So exactly as I mentioned, asset tokenization trend and challenges. So like a little bit about tokenization. So what are we actually mean with tokenization? So tokenization is actually one thing. It's like so either is the representation of a financial asset on blockchain, or is actually the asset itself. So it can be basically be both. So tokenization is just the representation of a financial asset or the asset itself on blockchain. So regarding this, before Switzerland introduced the Swiss DLT bill in 2021, I mean, you could already theoretically tokenize things, but the tokenization is not just a technological challenge or a technology development, but it has to come hands in hands with the regulation of the countries. So that's why tokenizing anything before 2021, basically, because that's when Switzerland put into force the Swiss DLT Act, was actually worthless because no other country had a proper regulation around it. So even if you were issuing any tokenized asset, would have not had any legal backing. Therefore, that's why it wouldn't make sense before 2021. Yeah, I mean, there are of course the assets combined, and there are big expectations for tokenization taking over the world. I mean, this is still to be seen clearly, but we will see. I will tell you what we have seen that it's working in tokenization and what is not, and then hopefully you can make up your mind and what is going to be. So how does it work? Okay, so just briefly about tokenization. So what before was a paper-based contract or a financial contract based on paper, now actually the same exact thing, you just code it into a smart contract on Ethereum. So these are actually, now there is a Swiss standard which is called the CMTA standard, which all this tokenization startup, all the companies in Switzerland are actually following, and it's a simple ERC20 token with some standard ERC20 function. The only function that is now a bit weird and is a bit different is a kill switch function, which I mean, it's done because since these have legal backing, you kind of want to have, I mean, you kind of want to revoke the access basically if some people get access to them and you don't want them to have access. So basically, there are slight variation on an ERC20 traditional smart contract, exactly because of these legal backing things. Basically, if you don't want someone to have shares of your company in the traditional world, there is just a contract and you enforce it. But like on a smart on a blockchain, how do you enforce revoking the token that someone holds in a wallet? Well, basically you can implement this kind of kill switch function, which are not super nice in the ethos of blockchain, but still, unfortunately, there has to be a compromise if we really want to have financial assets, because otherwise there will be a clash with the legal structure that's in place. Some of the advantage of tokenization, briefly about it. So I mean, yeah, the disintermediation and it automates a lot of the transactability. The examples I always do is like, now if I actually used to have a co-founder who was in France. Basically, I had to buy the shares back from him. So how this process of buying back the shares works is I create a contract, I sign it manually, I send him the letter by post because he has to sign it manually, and then basically send it back to me that I give it to the commercial registry. So he could not sign electronically, and is not legally binding if you sign it electronically. This kind of paper. So well, this is, I mean, that's clearly something that with tokenization we can simplify, because just the move of the tokenized shares from my wallet to your wallet have actually is legally binding, and you don't need any signature, and so the property is actually transferred once you send your tokens from your wallet to another. So you remove all these part of signing up, but this has to come hand in hand clearly with the regulation. Before, it was not feasible. Yeah, you can automate a bunch of process. Exactly, I have some friends automating they are also automating funds. Sorry, here they are automating funds tokenization, so you can do redemption and payment of fees, payments of dividends. You can automate some of these things. Clearly, you enforce rights, so these rights are enforceable via smart contract, and you can fractionalize some assets, even though this part of fractionalization is not entirely accurate, because the fractionalization of asset is something that has been done over and over again in the past. Actually, I want to demystify a myth. Fractionalization is not necessarily something. Is not something. The funds tokenization, yeah, it's not something that you cannot do, because actually the fractionalization happens at the legal level, not at the tokenization level. So actually, it's a bit of a misconception what this fractionalization. But what you can do is definitely have fractionalized assets and bring them on chain. But the fractionalization is, it can be done before in a traditional setting as well. Yeah, exactly. So other things that have been used, I've seen for tokenization, is really enforcing rights, enabling or simplify funds distribution of fees, redemption rights, calculation of NAV. You have all these aspects which are advantages. Shortly about the regulation. Why? I mean, it's I know I'm stressing out a lot, but unfortunately, tokenization and regulation are really brothers and sister. I mean, twins. Actually, they really go. I would say twins. They go hand in hand, and they are this. They must go to move together if you wanna. So, just out of for your knowledge, like in Switzerland, we had this law, which is this beautiful Swiss DLT Act, and basically what that means is that the government passed one part where actually one part changed the code of obligation as a version of this code of obligation of that now assets can also be on a distributed ledger, and the transfer of ownership can happen throughout distributed ledger, while before it was not in it, so there was no legal binding. Other countries have been also very another country who's been really a pioneer in this is Singapore, which is very similar to Switzerland. They've been also always pioneering in the regulation. That's why you have been seeing most of the tokenization project have been taking place in Switzerland and Singapore. There are several in there which are doing this because exactly the regulation has been always clear, and also but more the regulation, which is true, but also working with the regulator. So this is something that's very underestimated, with like how is also working with the regulator. So working with the regulator in Switzerland is really easy and good, as I imagine in Singapore, because these are smaller countries. In other countries, as United Kingdom, United States, working with a regulator, as you know, it can be much harder. And also, there they are much more risk adverse. They don't dare to do things before have been tested and proved. Yes, so a little bit about the United Kingdom. They have somehow some new law regarding tokenization, which actually they kind of allow it, even though they haven't expressed. Basically, they are saying, hey, basically they are saying they haven't come out with a clear regulation around tokenization, but they basically what they're saying is the regulation, the finance regulation, which already we just apply to tokenized assets. So basically, we see this is exactly the same. Um, yeah, this is the only difference. And in the United States, they're kind of on a similar pattern. So applying the finance thing, I mean, the finance law to tokenize asset. There isn't a clear writing of like has been in for the government, the Swiss government, like with the change actually the the code of obligation. So they really put it in writing. Um, what are the challenging and what is missing for tokenization in general? I think this is now it gets to the more interesting topic. Um, so it's technically a little bit complex, honestly. Not that many institution people understand the complexity of what is a smart contract, how a smart contract works, how to deploy a smart contract. So it's not something, a knowledge that every company has within the firm. Of course, you can rely on others to do it, but like there is always, this. It's I try to work with some technical developer. They're very sometimes expensive, and it's really unclear. And companies like to do it internally, and they probably don't have the capacity or the availability. Um, as well, another thing which in my opinion what is missing is what is the unclear advantage for many of these institutions or in general for issuing tokenized assets or having tokenized assets rather than keeping them the way it has been. This is also, I mean, this is like, it seems trivial, but it's actually, in my opinion, the biggest problem. Because what I always say is that tokenization is mainly, I mean, how is it being done? It's mainly a marginal improvement. So this is because everyone is thinking about how we can settle faster, how we can better CSD, which is the central security deposit for stock exchanges, how we can make use of some inefficiency of finance, of the traditional finance, how can we improve that. But these are marginal improvements which require a high cost for changing the whole tech infrastructure basically. So the advantage of just tokenization in my opinion, in many cases is not straightforward, or is doesn't add that much value. That's what I mean. And yeah, uncertain regulation, it's, yes, this is one reason, but the main reason, in my opinion, is clearly there is uncertainty about regulation, because you cannot do a couple of things. You can some financial authorities are very against you working with decentralized application. You never know these guys coming after you because they have an issue clear regulation around it. So of course it doesn't make life easier for institution to work with financial assets. But to be honest, I don't think is a bit of an excuse. The uncertain regulation is an excuse that many use. But the real problem is, like, what is the advantage of how much is an advantage of tokenizing all the assets, and how this improvement in settlement can make so much of a difference. But considering the cost of needing to change and a whole industry, because if you're the only one working on one network, then that there is not that much value. um so trends, now to the trends. So what I've noticed, which are the best projects out there and what is working. So I really want to get in what is something that it's really working and I've noticed. And for me, what is clearly working and what is going to work in the future is real world asset in DeFi. Then later I will go in what is not working, not the project who are not working, but more what is not working in general in tokenization specifically. So here we are. The trends, which it's clear, is having real world asset on DeFi. So DeFi is the new financial infrastructure. As you all know, you can do things that were unfeasible before. So lending and borrowing in a peer-to-peer manner, exchange, decentralized exchange, dexes, where you can trade low traded assets, you can bootstrap liquidity. So these are all things which DeFi's allow you to do, and which you could not do before, literally, like, or not in such a automated and efficient manner. So what I've seen that it really works is when protocols actually integrate these two things. I've seen protocols who just do real world assets, so just pure tokenization, and I will later go into it, and that's not working. I can tell you, like, if you just token, you come try to propose a service, say, I'm gonna tokenize your bonds, and for without anything, that's really not gonna work. What I've seen is working exactly as I propose here 3 projects, which I kind of like. So the first one is realty, and many have tried to do emulate things in the, yeah, everyone is thinking, yeah, having a tokenized real estate, it's fantastic. Well, my question is still why? What are the efficiency? Because also the legal setup is complicated. The only guys which I really like and which are really receiving traction is realty, which is actually an American company, and they're American user can theoretically not even be onboarded. But I mean, I did their but actually, yeah, there anyway, they can kind of get away. So what is interesting about them? It's interesting that once you buy, so they basically sell these tokenized houses. Um, they buy these properties, they put them in a company, and then they tokenize the company basically, and they do this, they sell them, and you receive the rent in DAI, which is really interesting. So you really receive that in stable coin. And then but let's say what is the purpose of tokenizing is, I mean, we said that fractionalization, I mean, you can tokenize a piece of real estate without needing tokenization. And fraction, you can already fractionalize it today. So what is the real advantage for me that they are proposing is this integration with QuickSwap and Aveo. Now I think they changed the name, right? So basically what you can do is actually using those tokens to do things that you, or this proper piece of properties that you could not use before. Okay, they would have been just laying there around, but while if you're gonna want to get rid of them, you can swap them into one of the liquidity pools that they have set up for every property. So that's, I think, is a good advantage. I've checked their pools. They are quite low. They don't have its big liquidity, but still, I mean, is it the right direction? Is the right direction? Definitely, they are on the right track, and especially also with this partnership with Aave for blending and borrowing. So basically, you can collateralize and borrow stable coins by putting your properties. So this I find is super good, and this is what is working there. I'm on their Discord, like they're really growing and it's thriving. Another one that I like is Ondo Finance. They are more on treasury bills, but there are many who have been trying to do just tokenized treasury bills, but they have the one who managed to do something interesting. Because okay, first let's say I think so how they started it actually just with the tokenizing treasury bills, but I think that that thing didn't fly, and the reason why it didn't fly is because why would I need to buy a tokenized bond on chain if I can just call my broker and have it off chain? Is I mean, it's really like as simple. So basically, what these guys came out for after is with the additional of flag. I mean, of course, they had success in that, but like I think what they are like, I mean, for me, the more interesting part is what they've developed, which is their Flux protocol, which is basically is a lending and borrowing protocol like Aave, just they did it for themselves, and where exactly you can borrow land stablecoin which are backed by their treasuries, which provides you yields. So it's actually this integration with the DeFi and lending and borrowing and getting yields from this. This is actually something that becomes much more interesting. And also you can buy. So what you can do is to buy on their treasury on the finance, and then exactly also put it as a collateral in their Flux protocol. Basically, they are kind of connected. So, but you see this trend is like traditional assets, and then there is a lending and borrowing protocol, there is a DEX, there is this DeFi integration. Then we go to Centrifuge. Centrifuge is they are more focused on credit. They also it's quite interesting. I mean, they also have this a similar setup to Ondo Finance. They also have a protocol where you can do lending and borrowing, and you can. They have they created these pools where they put it on this line. I think so. What they're doing is good, and I've seen their TVL growing a lot. I'm just thinking that so credit is a very sophisticated. It's much more sophisticated than bonds, or less understood by the general people. So it must be really for institutionals. The one of them, and I mean, so one of their main buyers is actually MakerDAO. That's what's it's interesting getting exposure to private credit. So they because MakerDAO has a big treasury and they need to they want to get exposed to something which is less volatile than crypto, so they kind of open this buy directly from Centrifuge. The only issue I'm concerned about Centrifuge, I really like what they're doing. I'm just questioning how much interest there is in buying on-chain credit. So this is which is the same as bonds. I mean, partially, but like what I've seen is also by talking with other protocols is actually that it's not that easy to get people to buy credit on chain, because I mean if you go on chain you most likely looking to buy crypto, right? So this is the thing why oh yeah, the thing is that the integration with the lending and borrowing protocol makes it more attractive. But yeah, I'm still unsure about future development, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna I'm pretty sure that they're gonna make it. I mean, it's really good what they're doing. I'm sure at the current stage, the current development of the market. So what I'm more is not their value proposition, is more the current understanding and value proposition of the market. What is not working? I think this is also very important, which is not talked enough. So, as I mentioned, simple tokenization. Simple tokenization really is not working. We have seen it in thousands, in tens of examples of protocols, just going after institution, retail, whatever, proposing them to tokenize. Why? Because actually the process for tokenization is more complex. The regulation is actually in some countries not super clear, is not understood by everyone. People, I mean, if you talk already when you mention tokenization, some people literally just freak out for whatever reason, because maybe they heard is not a good thing, or they heard is things you want to stay away. So simple tokenization, I don't think it's great, super great. I mean, it's gonna be is a marginal improvement, and in the future we can see how this is going to become bigger, but I mean, for the moment is not flying unless there is something more. That's why I'm saying that private blockchain for securities, and this is not flying, is not working, in the sense that the purpose of a blockchain is to be interoperable. If you try to get and create your own chain and get other institutions there, I mean, there are many big banks and institutional trying to. First of all, the Swiss Digital Exchange with their private Corda chain, Corda private blockchain, and all of them are developing their own solution, trying to stay within the regulation. But I mean, it's really I don't think it's gonna fly. This is not flying and hasn't seen, and I haven't seen any good use case. And then the other thing is actually, which is kind of connected to the first one, is like people are trying to um, tokenize to solve a marginal improvement. Settlement is always the thing that we hear every day. Oh, we need settlement to be from 2 days to 1 day to zero, because it can save a lot of money, whatever. But unfortunately, in my opinion, I mean, if it was such a good idea, why hasn't took off? Regulation, honestly, that's a bit of an excuse. In my opinion, the reality is that settlement, tokenizing for improving settlement is nice. It's nice, but is a marginal improvement. Again, this is like, yes, you improve from 2 days to zero to 1 day to zero, but what is the cost for switching the whole tech infrastructure, using the banks, teaching a whole economy, a whole financial market about new technology, if it's not revolutionary, or if it's not like kind of, I need to have it, otherwise I'm gonna go out of business today. Like now maybe there is a little bit of the FOMO of AI, that if I don't have AI, I'm not gonna get out of business. Well, that hasn't happened yet with tokenization. None of this is like, okay, if I don't get, they are exploring, yes, but no one is like, I need to integrate now the day tokenization, otherwise I'm gonna stay behind the market. And yeah, so this is a marginal improvement which eventually is going to happen. I just don't think that it's going to be the first thing, the first use case. So custody, CSD, which is central security deposit, all these things are on the similar clear houses, clearing houses. Sorry, all of these are on the same product. Okay, so here we have also a map of real world asset, in case I just remember that we did it some time ago. So in case you wanna, I think you just have to scan this QR code. In case, I will send it to Ivan as well. If I don't know if it works, because I just realized that I had this one. But I can, if you see, you can download, like you can take a look, and there is a, we created a whole slide with all the protocols in the different categories. And yeah, in case, I'll send it to Ivan and he will share with you. But yeah, I guess it's all. Yeah, this is the contact of my co-founder. But so hopefully you enjoyed it.
Sure. Thank you, Francesco. The QR code works, so maybe we can leave it here with the
Okay.
QR code so people can scan it.
Yeah.
And is there an opportunity to download this list? So
Yes, there should be, like with the QR code, and I think you, if I remember well, there. There will be there is the PDF after, like if you just there, yes.
Okay. Okay.
I mean,
Thanks.
because we did it some time ago, and I just remembered that we had, so I thought, okay, maybe it's could be cool to have it. Yeah.
Sure, sure. Thank you. Was really interesting. I have a couple of questions. So you mentioned real estate tokenization. Have you seen any successful cases in Switzerland with real estate tokenization, the fundraising, maybe something that was beneficial for the company that did the tokenization?
No, honestly, simple answer, no. I haven't seen any good success cases of in Switzerland. And I mean, the reason it could be not because maybe tokenization is like, because, so I mean, as a founder, you know that the hardest part is not the tech side. Most likely, most of the time, I mean, unless you're doing okay, ChatGPT, very technical protocol. Okay, there I get the technical side. But even though the technical side can be done, now you can fork things. The tough part is the product distribution. How do you get people to know and invest in properties? So the reason why I haven't seen any good project in Switzerland and not a necessary an improvement is because exactly this. Maybe some protocols or project launched the idea of token, and they did it. They tokenized some real estate, but then they were not good at creating a community, getting people interested in really selling their platform. So at the end, I haven't seen any good case, and the only good case I've seen are uh, traditional platforms who just fractionalize investment in real estate. And because again, the advantage of using tokenized asset is in this case is a little bit marginal. Yes.
Okay, thanks, Francesco. We have additional questions from the audience. Um, on the current landscape, what blockchains offer the best platform for real-world assets projects to build?
So I will say, I mean, definitely the EVM, the Ethereum ecosystem is it's the best. I've seen some project who were originally born on other blockchains like Polkadot, and now they all shifted to Ethereum or the layer two. I mean, the layer twos. When I say Ethereum, I mention I want also to include the layer twos, which actually are the one where mostly they can be deployed, these protocols. So I would say the Ethereum, definitely Ethereum, layer twos, Arbitrum, all the maybe the new things, the new roll ups which are coming up. But for the moment, you can stick to Ethereum or Arbitrum. This is it's the best. Yes.
Okay, interesting. Right now
Yes,
we see.
a little bit of security. I mean, it's really secure. So when you want to select something for, just to add on tokenization, is like security is really important there. So you want to make sure you deploy on a secure blockchain. You don't care about at this point the speed of transaction is comes a little bit in the second place. So it's more important the security than the actual speed, as long as it's good enough.
Okay, okay, thank you. And can we speak a bit about Arcton? So I
Yeah.
know the great idea and technology that you are building right now, and a lot of success with startups that you have already launched during the past 6 months. So I'm curious to know about your next big goals, your milestones. What are you planning for this year and for next year, maybe?
Yeah. So for this year, so yeah, we have our repository so we developed exactly our own smart contract for our tokenized assets, that we have it, and then we had this partnership with Camelot. Well, about Arcton is exactly following this. We are exactly following this real world asset in DeFi. For us, just tokenizing shares of startups is not a big advantage. I mean, yes, you can do fundraising in startups, and you can tokenizing theoretically them, and then people can trade them. But this is and then internally, or they can just move it from one wallet to the other, which is nice, but it's not like super incredible, because theoretically I could just send the contract to someone, he can sign it, and then my assets are anyway transferred. Well, but what about liquidity 24/7? And that's to me where is the real benefit of Arcton, because exactly by having because with the Swiss regulation and this partnership, we can really bring liquidity to asset which was very hard to trade before, to an asset which you can now trade 24/7. And therefore, I mean, this narrative of reward asset on DeFi is really what we are following. We're trying to make an asset. We're making an asset which is very liquid, like startup shares, actually tradable on Camelot. We see the liquidity pool with when once the fundraise is completed, we see the liquidity pool with a portion of their fundraised amount, and we pair it with some tokenized shares, and then investors user can trade 24/7. Yes.
Okay, interesting. Thank you, Francesco. Also, we have a question from Luke. What about OG, Project Origin Tech? Do you know them?
Sorry, which one?
Uh, Origin Tech. I think you were speaking about them recently,
Origin Tech.
or you were speaking about Ondo Finance.
I was speaking about Ondo Finance. Uh, Origin Tech. I'm not sure I know about this one, to be honest. Um, or to know exactly about, yeah.
Sure. So, Luke, feel free to share more information
Yeah,
with us in
exactly.
comments. We can have a look after the
Yeah,
meeting.
unfortunately, I'm not aware too much about this protocol, this project.
Yeah.
So
Um,
if I have more information, I can definitely give a heads up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's quite popular project, and Luke shared the website, so later on we can check. Thank you, Luke and Stefan, for your question, and guys, I encourage you to ask additional questions if you want. But I would love to ask my favorite question to Francesco and all other speakers. So, how your personal investment portfolio looks right now? So, what is the distribution between different asset classes like real estate, crypto, fiat, maybe stocks, and some other assets? Can you
For
please
my
share?
for myself, huh?
Yes, yes.
I'm mostly invested in crypto, to be honest. I'm mostly invested in crypto, honestly.
Good for you.
I'm honestly 100% invested in crypto. To be total transparent, I'm 100%. Yeah, now exactly. Totally. I'm 100% in that, and especially now that there is the bull run, is the asset that can yield best results. I mean, the idea, ideally, I would like to buy some on-chain bonds and things like this, but I liked a little bit of. I mean, I thought it was the right time at the moment, so I kind of went back into completely crypto. So I don't, I'm really unbalanced in this way, but I mean it works for me, I guess. So yeah.
Yeah, understood. Uh, Actually, we have a question, additional question from Luke. Your best performing asset in portfolio right now?
My best performing asset is Pendle.
Mhm. Yeah,
Pendle, yeah, they're an Arbitrum. It's a really good project. I like them. Pendle, yeah, Pendle has been the best one so
yeah,
far.
interesting. I used their platform, but never invested in Pandal. I
Yeah,
remember.
yeah, I bought them now. They were at $1. Yeah, $1, and now there's like they're like three or something. They just three and a half. So yeah, they've been yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Are you using DeFi protocols for some assets to have additional income?
Yeah, I use a little bit. I'm not a heavy DeFi user, to be honest. I mean, I use to trade. I just use Camelot. So yeah, I actually yes, I don't use centralized exchanges anymore since last year, basically. So I just now have two wallets, a couple of wallets actually, where I do my tradings. I trade on Camelot, honestly. So I also stake their Grail token for the moment. I'm not too much crazy about crazy strategy, even if though I would like to look into more. But the thing is, my day to day is really, I mean, in my day to day business is really more of a, getting in touch with new potential clients, with new things. So it really has little to do with the actual DeFi part yet. So I'm really like, unfortunately, it's not the thing that I follow every single day. But yeah, I use it now. I'm still happy that exactly I just use DEXs. I don't trade anymore on any centralized exchange. So it's that I like. I need to be careful, like, but yeah, that's basically it.
Mhm. Understood. Thank you, Francesco. That was incredibly interesting, and hope you will share the presentation with us so we can send it to our followers and they can have a look later on. Thank you, everyone, for joining today. And Francesco, if you have
Sure.
some call to action or some
Yeah, I mean,
things that you would like to share.
yeah, you guys, I mean, exactly. I mean, yeah, if you have any questions, just ping me on LinkedIn or on Telegram. Yeah, and then exactly. I mean, if you're interested, now we are launching two new startups. Which the thing is exactly we are launching two new startups. One is in tokenization of funds. You can go on Arcton and check them out if you're interested. Is Fume. They have a very cool
Yeah.
platform where they allow to uh, a platform for the tokenization of these new type of funds. And then we have another one which is more traditional, very different, is InsurTech startup. So yeah, we are like now working with them. We're also doing their sales process. So we're also doing new things for them. Yeah,
Yeah,
happy
super
to
cool.
chat. If anyone has any question about tokenization, we are happy to answer.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Francesco. Was glad to host you today, and wish you everyone a great rest of the day. We will share the materials with you.
Amazing. Amazing. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Sure. Thank you.